about to explore something a little bit different. It's called a multi-sided business platform as you go through. There's several different versions of them. Normally, when you think about a business platform, you have you as the vendor, and then you have a customer. So when you have a retail store, a customer walks in, you have the retailer there, and the customer is there browsing among the goods that that retailer has for sale, and it's a two-sided transaction. But sometimes you have different platforms. You have a regular retail platform. You may also have a wholesale platform as you go through. So you may have a customer that is purchasing on a retail basis, and you may have another one that's purchasing in volume at a wholesale basis as you go through. You may also have some specialty items that you're creating special for special order, and all of a sudden now you have three different types of customers as you go through. Once you start going past the typical two-party, the vendor and the customer, and you have multiple different kinds of customers as you go through, then you have what we call a multi-sided business platform. As you go through, you can kind of see here, here's a model as you go through. Pardon the spelling, it's English as you go through. But that being said, in the process as you go through, you'll see that there's different ways of modeling this as you go through. Alibaba is one. Typically, Alibaba is almost the Chinese version of Amazon, except Alibaba is not really focused on the end consumer. It's focused on the end wholesaler that is purchasing their products in bulk to sell. But they also sell to regular consumers on top of that as well. They also sell to American consumers, buying it as consumers and also buying as wholesalers to sit down there and put in other platforms like Amazon. A lot of people do that actually when it comes down to it. It's not a new development as you go through. You go back, you'll see over the millennia, people have done it time and time again, having multiple different kinds of customers as you go through. It's perfect for startups, perfect for young companies, and great for established brands. You pretty much have this on a regular basis to multiple things. For a startup, you can sit down there and have one focal point, and then you come across something, you can add another type of customer and another one over here and another one over here. Somebody that I know went through and he started out with a food truck as he went through. And so his food truck was very successful. He opened up a restaurant as you go through. And then by the time it was done, he opened up a second restaurant and then a third restaurant. And then of all things, he opened up an Italian restaurant, going from Mexican food, a Mexican food truck, and he had three different restaurants, all Mexican, and then he opens up an Italian. I says, why'd you do that? He said to her, he says, well, really, if you go in our region, the number 2 seller is Mexican food, number 1 is Italian. Hey, I've got a really good business model. I'm going to apply it to the Italian as well. And I'll actually make more profit off that as you go through. Really smart model. So he's got multiple models. He's got the food truck still going. He's got the restaurants going, and now he's got a different kind of restaurant going on top of that as you go through. So that being said, he has multiple different customers, even though he's generally in the food service business as you go out there. So it depends what you have. I'm going to look at the Uber or even the YouTube model as you go through. But before we do that, let's first of all look on Facebook. Facebook really started in about 2004 trying to figure out how to make money. They had a really cool application. The roots of Facebook really comes down to some guys were hanging out over at Harvard and trying to figure out how to get more dates as you go through. So they made an app as you go through. By the time it was all done, it turned into Facebook. Multiple lawsuits later, by the time it was all done, he ended up with Zuckerberg and Saverin as go through. They launched Facebook itself, and the two took some ways to sit down and try to raise money for it. They really didn't know how to raise money. They knew they had something really cool by the time it was all done. And really, 4 years later, they're rolling in massive amounts of money with huge valuations, huge stock prices compared to where they started out at, and a huge followership as you go through. They had a super hot commodity as you go through. YouTube. I want to go through some of the history of YouTube, and please forgive me for going through and looking on the basis of how they grew. First of all, the first advertising was launched in 2006. It really started right about then. And then they had an underground music contest. Well, that's a second type of customer. And then they had in-video ads, another kind of customer. Then they had a partnership program, another kind of customer as you go through. And then they had YouTube Insight. Then they had Click to Buy. Promoted videos launch, Pre-roll ads launch. They kept on adding more and more, and each time they're adding another type of customer until they have multiple vendors coming from a platform that really was not necessarily, didn't appear to sit to be totally focused. They just knew people love posting videos and we got to make money off this. So all of a sudden it evolved into a massive octopus shape as we go through, with not just a multi-sided, but a many-sided business model. Incredible as they went through the whole thing. So here's the demand, here's the supply, and really the customer is sitting down there, they're out there, and they have different customers they're addressing on a multi-sided platform as you go through. Airbnb. By the time you're all done, Airbnb looks normally like two sides. The buyer and the seller should go through. It's a two-sided platform as you go through, but on the multi-sided, there's a lot of different ways to use it. Facebook. Facebook is a matter of you log onto Facebook, and normally you think it's Facebook and the person that's on their system. But actually it's Facebook on the person on their system and the advertisers and the content developers. And by the time you're all done, the users, they're simply customers and they use the platform but don't pay for it. On the other side, they have customers that do pay for it. So there's different aspects of a multi-sided business platform. It really is excellent when you start thinking about the different opportunities once you start looking as sometimes the same customer as a different kind of customer. You have a new car dealership. Oh, and also most new car dealerships take trade-ins. You have a used car dealership with that as well. Oh, and also let's put some accessories on there. Let's open up an accessory store. Even though you have the same customers walked in, they traded in their used car to one component of the dealership. They bought the new car as they go through. That's really the same customer, but it's really a different customer because they're two different transactions. Oh, let's toss in some more stuff to put on it as well and make some more money. Oh, and let's sell a warranty over here. So by the time you're done, that customer becomes not just a customer for selling a used car, not just a customer for buying a new car, not just a customer for buying accessories for it, but also you're selling warranty products, you're selling additional services out there as well. So really, a auto dealership really is a multi-sided business platform as you go through. Pay attention to it. It really is a big deal as to how we develop on a multi-sided business platform. What is the success rate on it, and how does it apply mostly to the business that you're envisioning happening? Take care.